From Caracas, Venezuela, this is From the South. My name is Reagan Devines. We begin in Geneva, where Nicaragua and Cuba presented a declaration in support of Venezuela at the United Nations Human Rights Council. The Nicaraguan ambassador to the UN read the statement in the name of members of the Bolivarian Alliance of the Peoples of the Americas, or ALBA. It criticized what is called an unprecedented media campaign against Venezuela to conceal the achievements of the Bolivarian Revolution. Venezuela thanked the 57 countries present for their support. The Venezuelan Foreign Minister Delcy Rodriguez returned to the annual assembly of the Organization of American States on Tuesday, a day after countries from the Caribbean and ALBA blocked another attempt to get the OAS to demand that Venezuela comply with opposition demands and suspend its elections for a constituent assembly. Rodriguez announced that Venezuela would not take part in any more OAS meetings.
Venezuela se va victoriosa.
Venezuela leaves victorious, having defended the interests and the rights of our country, having defended the rights of Venezuela and its people. The Constituent Assembly has become an imperial bribe. Why? Because the only hope that the people of Venezuela have today for peaceful mediation, not violence, is to overcome the extremist focus of intolerance and hate.
Brazilian President Michel Temer has met his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin in Moscow. At the start of a two-day visit, Temer said he was grateful for the warm welcome to Russia. The two leaders discussed trade and economic cooperation between their countries as well as international issues. Back in Brazil, the federal police says it has solid evidence that the embattled president received bribes, a legal development that could see him suspended from office. 12 hours of continuous rain and heavy winds lashed Rio de Janeiro, causing flooding in several parts of the metropolis on Tuesday. Residents were advised to drive carefully and avoid driving through flood waters as much as possible. The city was hit by record-heavy rains that started on Monday. Local media reported that there were no serious problems in the transport system. At least 11 people have died in western Guatemala after heavy rains caused a mudslide that swamped homes. Mud also spilled onto a highway and buried two buses early on Tuesday. 10 of the fatalities were in a bus that was buried, and another was inside one of the homes. Calls for protest against Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas have been made by the National Movement for breaking the siege on the Gaza Strip. Here is teleSUR's with more.
The National Movement for Breaking the Siege on the Gaza Strip called on Palestinians living in the coastal region to protest against President Mahmoud Abbas' punitive measures in Gaza on Tuesday. The community's spokesman Abdel Karim Ashur urged the protesters to gather into the contact points with the Israeli occupation along Gaza's eastern border to press for their rights.
The Palestinian Authority's policy of collective punishment against our people in the Gaza Strip will eventually extend to reach those who plan for it. We hold the PA and its president Mahmoud Abbas responsible about any repercussions, and we urge him to cease his hostile policy against the people of Gaza who reject all his acts.
Palestinians in the Gaza Strip were angered by Israel's decision to cut back on already limited electricity on Monday, following a request by President Abbas. The Gaza-based Energy Authority said in a press statement that the Israeli grid supplying Gaza reduced their output from 120 to 112 megawatts. The cutback is expected to shorten by at least 45 minutes, a total of 3 hours of power Gaza receives a day, raising fears of renewed tensions between Hamas and Israel. Roughly 2 months ago, President Abbas began punitive measures against Gaza after Hamas formed an administrative committee to run public services there. Abbas hoped the measures would pressure Hamas into resorting at least some of the Palestinian Authority's control in Gaza. The measures included cutting the salaries of thousands of former employees, imposing taxes on fuel imports, refusing to pay for Gaza's monthly electricity bill, and slashing the healthcare budget. teleSUR TV, Gaza.
And finally, former Real Madrid Player Angel Di Maria has reached an agreement with Spanish prosecutors over a tax evasion charge related to his image rights. Di Maria will plead guilty to 2 charges of tax fraud, carrying an 8-month prison sentence for each. He will also have to pay over $2 million in the settlement. More on these and other stories on our website, telesurtv.net/English. For Telesur English, I'm Regan Levite.